The story begins with a young boy named Quinn entering a construction site. He goes down an escalator and witnesses a large mining operation. Quinn meets up with his mother, Karen, who asks if something is wrong. Initially, he denies it, but later he confesses and gives Karen a letter stating his scholarship was rejected, and now they have to pay $3,000 annually. Karen's boss informs her about a miner hitting a void, and Quinn is asked to check it out. Entering a hole, Quinn discovers an underground cave with a peculiar smell and strangely shaped pillars. While exploring, a small fire suddenly appears behind him. Looking up, he sees a massive creature above him, spitting something on his face, causing him to run away. Quinn finds his mother, and she notices his blood-red eyes. As the other men explore the cave, Karen pours water over Quinn's eyes. Inside, they hear heavy breathing, and a massive fire erupts. Quinn and his mother rush to the escalator, but a colossal dragon unexpectedly appears, bites the cage, and takes off. Quinn realizes his mother is unresponsive, and despite attempts to wake her up, he accepts that she's gone. The following 16 years are depicted with Quinn explaining how the world has transformed into a feeding ground due to the emergence of dragons. Despite the world's military efforts, the dragon's fire and destruction have prevailed, pushing humanity to the brink of extinction. Quinn, now much older, works at a safe house he leads within a castle in England. The scene shifts to Quinn mining with his team when a man rushes in, informing him that Eddie has become erratic. Upon hearing this news, Quinn hurries across the castle, which the group has turned into their new home. Even the dragon lookout Barlow notices Quinn running. He arrives to find Eddie and a few men eager to venture out for a harvest. Quinn insists the fruits are only half ripe, and taking them now would leave nothing for the following season. Eddie argues that there might not be another season, especially since other safe houses around them have perished. Creedy, another man, intervenes, suggesting that if Eddie leaves the gates, he can stay there. Quinn takes the keys and walks away, revealing that Creedy and Quinn are good friends. In this dragon-infested world without TV or movies, the comedic duo decides to perform Star Wars in front of the children they've saved. The kids enjoy the show, applauding the duo who take credit for writing the plays, even though they did not. The children then recite an oath created by Quinn, ensuring they know to run and hide when a dragon is in sight. Later in the night, it appears Eddie and his group sneakily took the keys to a vehicle and quietly left the castle. Quinn wakes up when he hears strong winds outside, even making a child seek refuge in his room. As dawn arrives, the lookout notices his bird acting strangely. He looks into the distance, and the scene shifts to Eddie and his group reaching the harvest. At the same time, Barlow sees something in the distance and quickly informs Quinn. An alarm starts ringing, and everyone rushes toward an underground bunker. Quinn learns that Eddie and some men have left, and they soon regret it as alarms sound. Sprinting back to the vehicle, they encounter the dragon. The others keep running, and Eddie asks about his son, only to discover he is the dragon's first victim. Smartly, the dragon burns Eddie's vehicle, and as they run the other way, they are trapped in the middle as the dragon sets the entire harvest ablaze. As the fire approaches, a heavily armored man emerges through the flames, and they dampen the blaze to help Eddie and his crew get into two vehicles. Quinn reveals himself, and the two armored trucks with powerful water hoses speed off, only to be confronted by the dragon, which breathes fire onto the lead vehicle. Taking the life of another of Eddie's sons, both vehicles start reversing their trucks to distance themselves from danger. Surprisingly, the dragon's motive appears to be focused solely on causing destruction to the harvest, showing little regard for the humans involved. That evening, Creedy and Quinn share a moment, and Quinn can't help but sympathize with Eddie's loss of his children to the dragon. Creedy bluntly asserts that Eddie brought this upon himself by not heeding warnings and by destroying their crops, putting their community at risk. Elsewhere in the building, AJ, the radio operator, intercepts a call, alerting the lookout. Barlow sees approaching tanks, sounding the alarm. Men prepare for a potential attack, aiming guns at what they think are marauders. However, the tanks stop, and Denton Van Zandt, a Viking-like figure, appears, wanting to talk to the community's leader. Quinn confronts Van Zandt, questioning why he's there. Van Zandt explains that he has rebuilt the National Guard and flown from America to England. Quinn doubts this, citing dragon dominance in the airspace for 2 decades. Van Zandt presents evidence of his dragon-killing exploits, displaying a trophy tooth, but Quinn remains suspicious. Nevertheless, Quinn must decide whether to let them in or face a possible forced entry. Choosing the safer option, Quinn opens the gate, and tanks roll in one by one, amazing the villagers. Creedy is puzzled, but Quinn explains that Van Zan is a dragon slayer, making Creedy laugh. A chopper arrives, convincing Creedy and Quinn that this group means business. The pilot, Alex Jensen, introduces herself and warns that her team has only 17 seconds of life expectancy upon jumping out. Quinn decides to have guards keeping an eye on the guests. Later, Quinn talks to Jensen in the kitchen, sharing stories of rescuing children and trying to find out why they've come. Jensen advises him to speak to Van Zan. Bar's bird starts screaming, signaling it's time to kill a dragon. Van Zan sends men with triangulators and puts Jensen in the air. Everyone watches in astonishment as they take off. On the radio, Jensen can't see anything, and Van Zan instructs her to wait for the triangulators. Vertical 1 and 2 quickly go up. The chopper designates one as bait and the other two as gunners. The dragon appears behind Jensen, forcing her to try and outmaneuver it. Van Zan is concerned about the third vertical for 3D mapping, but the man attempting to place it is killed by the dragon. Quinn's radio man alerts him, prompting Quinn to jump on his horse and position the triangulator for visual coverage. The dragon hits the chopper, causing the bait to fall. The two gunners jump out, and chaos ensues as the bait goes flying through the air with the dragon in pursuit. Jensen warns the gunners about the dragon in front of them, but they can't see it. They decide to shoot their nets, catching the dragon's wings. The gunners activate their wingsuits, but the nets miss. The bait alerts his gunners about the approaching dragon, which shoots a fireball but misses him. Without activating his wingsuit, he crashes hard to the ground. The dragon chomps one gunner, but the last one opens his parachute. Quinn gets on the radio, and Van Zan tells him to be ready to ride. Van Zan informs Quinn that the dragon will be on him in 30 seconds. Quinn jumps on his horse, luring the dragon toward Van Zan's tank. With limited options, Quinn rides as the dragon approaches. Van Zan takes the shot at the right moment, causing the dragon to crash and die. Now, Quinn knows Van Zan is not just bragging about being a dragon killer. That night, everyone celebrates the challenging feat of killing a dragon, hailing Quinn as a hero. However, Van Zan, despite the cheers, expresses deep disgust, stating that losing even one person is too much. Tearfully, he walks away. Later, Quinn finds Van Zan alone and questions his true motive for being in England. They move the conversation inside, where Van Zan and Jensen reveal that all the dragons they've killed so far were female. They've discovered there's only one male dragon that fertilizes thousands of eggs. Van Zan is determined to end all dragons by killing this one. The next day, Van Zan addresses the community, asking for help to eliminate the dragons. Only 4 people step forward, prompting him to order his men to find the strongest 6 and bring them. Quinn intervenes, hitting Van Zan. They engage in a fierce fight, and as expected, Van Zan proves too powerful. He is stopped from killing Quinn and leaves with his soldiers. Jensen gives Quinn a bottle for his injuries and leaves him be. Inside, attending to his injuries, Quinn sees one of his young boys, named Jared, preparing to battle. Despite wanting him to lead the community one day, Quinn lets him go when he can't convince him otherwise. The soldiers head off for what seems like humanity's last stand. Quinn checks the harvest and finds Jared, who changes his mind. They share a hug and return to the castle together. At night, Quinn explores the dead dragon and finds an egg, confirming Van Zan's claim. Meanwhile, the soldiers face a blockade before reaching the heart of London. Van Zan instructs Jensen to find an alternative route, jumping off his tank. A distant fire signals the approaching dragon, and Van Zan prepares his crew for battle, realizing the dragon is playing with them as it maneuvers in the sky. They finally see the creature, and Van Zan shoots, but the beast's continuous fire turns the entire army into ash. Quinn's horse goes crazy, and Jensen sees almost everyone dead. The only person left is Van Zan, who can't believe he lost so many lives. The dragon heads to the castle, shooting flames. Quinn sees it from afar, rides there, and the people inside run to the underground bunker. Creedy tries his best, but the dragon flies away, leaving the castle in flames. Quinn runs inside, grabs some children, and heads to the bunker. The dragon comes back, and Creedy tries to save more people, but the final attack kills him, sealing the bunker door. Quinn tries to open it, but it won't move. They stay in the bunker for hours until they hear the door moving. Van Zandt and Jensen are there. The community goes outside to see their home in ruins. Quinn tells Van Zandt he knows where the creature lives and wants to end it. Before leaving, he appoints Jared as the leader, aware he might not make it. In a few minutes, the trio flies towards the city, and Quinn directs them where to land. They get out and climb stairs to see a huge sight, many dragons on the rooftops, strangely not attacking. While they talk, the Big Daddy dragon arrives and starts eating the other dragons, dwarfing them in size. It doesn't approach the trio, and when it leaves, they decide to go inside the city. The dragon spots them entering the underground tunnels, and the trio heads towards the Big Daddy's cave, using flares for light. Van Zandt stops everyone and takes out explosive heads for his crossbow. He explains that the only way to kill the dragon is when it exposes its chest while breathing fire. They plan to lure the dragon to ground level and they go up a shaft. Quinn pauses when he sees the cage where his mother died. Van Zandt tells him to use that anger, and they get into position. The dragon circles and they all sprint to their spots. Quinn gets too close and accidentally drops his arrow. Van Zandt climbs high, shouting to get the dragon's attention. He shoots the dragon, injuring it a bit. When the dragon comes close, Van Zandt jumps to strike but gets eaten. Jensen is hurt, and Quinn takes her to cover. The dragon spits fire, and Quinn faces it, firing shots from his rifle. It chases him, and he hides, spotting his arrow. He retrieves it, screams at the dragon, dodges a fireball, and shoots at the perfect moment, killing the dragon. Jensen calls him a true dragon slayer. They return to their community, and life improves as they don't see any dragons for 3 months. Jared is now in charge, making Quinn happy. Jensen is surprised at Quinn's newfound optimism, and the movie ends.